It's February 5th, 2012. Um, I've been thinking a lot about many different things and concerns and potentialities to relationships. What's the role I play in these relationships? What am I asked to do, basically, and how am I performing those tasks? One of which is inspired by this elder of mine that gave me the book Signature in the Cell. I'm looking to the side here to see if it's in the pile next to me. And I've been concerned about addressing his topics, his perspectives in respect and admiration for his experience. These things are really important to me. I want to go to the deepest level possible that is the potential for us to have a relationship together. I'm very curious, and I seek the bottom line, so to say, but I am in full awareness that at that ultimate root of our being, it is a complete and utter mystery. So, I was watching Charlie Rose the other night. I saw Henry Kissinger, which is quite an interesting fellow. Quite an interesting fellow. And I've heard a lot of negative things about the guy, but I've had a lot of negative experiences personally that I partook in my life, so I give allowances. And I choose not to be a big shot. I choose not to be out in the world competing with all these other people because it just doesn't turn me on. I feel like my energies could be better spent doing something other than trying to make a goal and getting beat up in the process. Though when I do have a goal and I do take blows as a result of trying to achieve that goal, this is a holy and a divine sacrifice. So it's not for me. I'm not the one taking the blows. It's the ideal that I am holding in the forefront of my consciousness as a goal that is being developed in time. There's a lot there. But in trying to upload a journal entry, which seems to be going really slow this month, since we entered into Aquarius, seems like it's just going really slow. But as I was waiting online for that to upload, I also uploaded a bunch of Wikipedia entries. And these entries are on Charlie Rose. There was this doctor, scientist, who mentioned complex emergence. We are in a complex emergent life, or something to that effect. And I looked up, what did I look up? I looked up a bunch of things. I looked up emergent behavior of emergent systems and transformations. Those weren't on Wikipedia. This was on Wikipedia. Emergent, which had a bunch of links. And then I went to Emergent Materialism. And then I went to Eliminative Materialism. Then I went to Type Physicalism. And then I had to go to Ontology. And then Entity. And then Biological Naturalism. And then the Problem of Mental Causation. Emergent Evolution. Emergence. Complex System. And then Emergent System Dynamics. And as I was looking through those, I was the inherent existence, the idea of inherent existence. Do things inherently exist? And the idea here is, I was turned on to it by Buddhism, and what this is in relationship to has to do with can any one thing exist in and of itself? And from their perspective, no, everything exists relatively. Everything exists in relationships. So I am not here in and of myself. I was born through the relationship of my mother and father. But when I looked up inherent existence, Wikipedia came up with emptiness. And then looking through the article, I picked up Rudolf Steiner. And then also sunyata, which is a Buddhist term, which is frequently translated into English as emptiness. And then I needed to go to epistemology. Then phenomenology, which led me to identity. Then the law of identity. Then personal identity. And in personal identity, it states, that is to say, the necessary and sufficient condition under which a person at one time and a person at another time can be said to be the same person persisting through time. And the first sentence is, personal identity is the unique numerical identity of persons through time. And then it says, in the modern philosophy of mind, this concept of personal identity is sometimes referred to as the diachronic problem of personal identity. The synchronic problem is grounded in the question of what features or traits characterize a given person at a time. So I looked up diachronic and synchronic. And then I went to identity as far as philosophy goes. So I had some things to look up, some things to read, and I haven't read through all of them. And I understand that Wikipedia is a questionable source. However, I was just going there not to base my whole identity and my reality on what Wikipedia has to offer, or says, just to broaden my view. But I came across this perspective that I already understand, that, I was a different person when I was 10 than when I was 20, than when I was 30, than I am now in my 40s. So identity is always changing. And this was really brought into the forefront of my awareness when everything I identified myself with, the main things that I identified myself as and with, were removed rather quickly. Not only did I lose the use of my body, then I was told that I need to make my final arrangements because I could very well die from the procedure that was required to be had until I was diagnosed with spontaneous remission, which is a whole nother thing that was taken away from me, And my relationship to my children was severed overnight, and my relationship to my family as well. And so all these things that I identified myself as a healthy father, employable, I was unable to work too. So identity came into question. What am I about? Who am I? And there's a very old saying that we are what we do. And I began a journey of doing things completely different from what I had ever had the time or energy to do before. And along the way, I realized that I need to keep it together, and that these things that I lost, I was not ready to let go of. And I needed to keep the fires burning, the home fires burning, so to say. I couldn't just completely surrender and relinquish that which I had identified with and lost. To this day, I still can't. To this day, I still have hope. Even though I'm not sure I will ever be able to have the health. Though I've made great strides. The image in my mind for health, I'm not sure I'll ever have. The image in my mind I have for my relationships with family and the role I play in relationship to them, I'm not sure will ever be. And same with my children. So, and same with work. So, you could look at it as I lost everything, or it can be looked at as a whole array of new opportunities presented themselves to me. Where to start? Well, I had to get it together. I had to keep it together first off, because, that's enough to really make someone unstable in their decisions of how to live their life. But what I found was I went to a deeper place, and it's very simple there. The deeper I went, the more simplistic it became, and the less fragmented, and the less concerned I was with all these changing things on the surface, because I was coming from a deeper place. Another thing I identified myself with is the belief in authorities. I believed they knew what they were doing. And in my experience, I was forced to swallow the fact that they're just shooting from the hip, doing the best they can with what they got. And what they have is best described as their experience. And there's a whole lot of things that they have not experienced. And I brought to their face my experience, which they hadn't encountered before, and they responded the way they responded. I didn't necessarily feel it was pleasant, but it did affirm that I continue to disengage from my old lifestyle and my life before the age of 35 and embrace a new life, which is completely and utterly mysterious. The sky was the limit on one perspective, and another perspective, it was completely starting over.